Well, later today, we will get the latest, if not one of the last, entries into the direct-to-consumer wars. Discovery has a 12 o'clock event scheduled in which it will unveil its Discovery Plus streaming service that will include, of course, so much of the programming on many of their key networks at Discovery, whether it's home, whether it's food, whether it's TLC, and on from there. In fact, I think, 25% of all women are viewers of the Discovery networks. But some things we don't know that we want to tell you about right now, according to people who are familiar with the situation, is that the launch is going to be accompanied by a deal similar to what we saw Disney do with, yes, Verizon. Verizon, I've learned, is signed on as a so-called partner for Discovery. It's very important here when you're launching one of these new direct-to-consumer platforms, particularly this late in the game, that you have some sort of partnership that will give you potentially the scale to reach as many people as possible. And in this case, it is going to be Verizon. My understanding is that Discovery's partnership with Verizon will be quite similar to what we saw with Disney, in that Verizon will give customers up to 12 months of the Discovery Plus service for free. Now, there are different points. Some will only get 6 months based on their service level. Some will get a full year. But you get the picture. About 55 million or so Verizon customers will be able to take advantage of, I'm told, by people familiar with the situation, this offer to receive Discovery Plus for its first year at least for free. What's that going to save you? Well, it's going to be priced at $6.99 if you don't want any ads, and that is the service that Verizon will be partnered on. So it's the $6.99 ad-free product. There is a ad-supported product as well. There it is at $4.99. So that gives you some sense as to the pricing. Remember when Disney Plus came, $6.99? I was in the room. I remember people going, whoa, at that time. Now it's become sort of that key price point in some ways. Of course, you got HBO Max far above that. You got Netflix far above that now at this point. But this is very important for their launch because they believe to actually effectively get out of the box and get anywhere near the numbers as you look at some of the price comparisons there. So many pluses these days, by the way. Disney Plus, Apple TV Plus. There's going to be Paramount Plus. There's Hulu Plus. It's a lot of pluses. But you want to have as many people as possible when you get out of the box to give yourself, Jim, the opportunity to reach that 30, 40, 50, 60 million sub worldwide. And by the way, they've already had a soft launch as well in Europe using with Sky, I believe, as well, quietly there. And they'll be launching in Italy. It will be available, as you might imagine. I think they're signing up the likes of Roku and Amazon. That is the platforms, Roku, the Fire Stick, to be able to have people get it as quickly as they can on their various platforms that they would access these streaming services. So there you can see it. But it's an important moment for Discovery, Jim. No doubt about it.
That's very impressive. I mean, so they've learned that you need to be ubiquitous to get Sky, to get Roku. This morning, there was an excellent piece by Craig Moffett talking about why Verizon, it's time to buy.
Yeah, they upgraded Verizon.
And he didn't have your scoop.
No.
I think he would have been even more emphatic.
What's interesting is, from Verizon's perspective, remember, the Disney offer, a lot of people are coming off of that. And a key question is going to be, what's the churn going to look like at Disney Plus?
Right.
Because so many people had been getting it, or at least tens of millions, we think, for free for at least a year as a result of being Verizon Wireless customers. But from Verizon's perspective, they've got Disney on one side and Discovery, very different kind of programming, on the other side. And my understanding is they're actually going to promote both. And they're going to be a partner here in terms of advertising, in the Verizon store. So Discovery Plus is going to get a decent amount of attention that way. Listen, it's what you want. It's so important to the future of the company. Although, by the way, let's not forget the big trade-offs here. You make so much more in the cable ecosystem still.
Right.
Your margins are so much better, but you have to have a direct-to-consumer strategy. It's the way you get a multiple in this market. And we see it with Disney as well, which got some positive comments, I think, if not an upgrade from somebody today based on expectations for direct-to-consumer there.
That's a big scoop, David, because it shows you you've got to play ball. By the way, I think that Verizon's been very aggressive. Sensing that I think AT&T's in a bit of a jam.
Well, AT&T has their service. They own it.
Yeah.
It's called HBO Max. And obviously there is that same kind of deal for AT&T wireless customers. Carl, we'll be following this closely, what it means for Discovery as well. Noon is when they're going to be introducing a lot more about the service.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.